The amendments to the Companies Act will prohibit specific words in a company's name unless consent is granted from the relevant authorities.
Clauses 1 and 2 of the bill provide for the short title and interpretation of the bill. By Clause 3 of the bill, Section 523 of the Act, prohibited name is amended to outline specific words that must not be used in a company's name except with the written consent of the Director of Financial Services Regulatory Authority.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre elaborated on the amendments to the Companies Act.
By Clause 4 of the bill, Section 524 of the Act, refusal of articles is amended to stipulate that the Register of Companies may refuse to accept articles from a company where the company is not granted written consent for the use of a company name under Section 523 of the Act. Under Clause 5 of the bill, Section 55 of the Act, the definition of technical words is amended to insert a definition of the term Financial Services Regulatory Authority.
Pierre explained the implications of organizations registering their businesses under improper names.
These amendments became necessary because it has been observed that companies have been incorporated using terms like insurance agency and insurance broker without the necessary non-objection from the FSRA. This poses a clear risk to the public as these companies might operate without proper regulations, leading to a potential financial misconduct or fraud. To address this, Mr. Speaker, we propose amending the Act to require FSRA consent for incorporating companies with the names suggesting involvement in financial services. The recommended amendment is: the registrar shall not incorporate a company under this Act for the purpose of engaging in insurance business, insurance agency, insurance brokerage, money services business, lending, international financial services representation, unless its incorporation has been consented to by the Financial Service Regulatory Authority.
Amendments to the registration of business names were also down for consideration at Tuesday's sitting.
The Registration of Business Name Amendment Bill proposed specific amendments to the Registration of Business Name Act, Cap 13.3. The amendments aim to enhance regulatory oversight and ensure proper governance in the incorporation and registration of business names, particularly those involved in financial services. Mr. Speaker, these amendments mirror the changes we've just effected earlier in the Companies Act.
MP for Vieux South, Dr. Kenny Anthony, welcomes the changes to the bills, but warned that overregulation and bureaucracy may complicate the ease of doing business and encourage skirting the rules.
The countries with the greatest degree of corruption in the Caribbean are the countries that seek to regulate against evil. So the more you have legislation that regulates, is the more you have corruption. And you know why, Mr. Speaker? Because people seek to get around the legislation, people seek to avoid the bureaucracy introduced by such legislation, so they buy the civil servants and buy public officials so they can get their way. Now, Mr. Speaker, you will be tempted to ask me which countries I have in mind, but you know them well. I ask you to look from the north in Jamaica to the south way down in South America and look at the range of countries, and those countries who have repeatedly over the years sought to deal with their social issues by regulatory behavior. And this is what is happening to us, because the more we regulate, is the more our people look for ways and means to get around the regulations, get around the laws by engaging in deceitful and corrupt behavior.
The amendments aim to strengthen oversight and protect the public from potential risks associated with improperly registered financial services companies. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.